Well, hi guys, I'm Michael Gibbons, and today I just watched A Good Day to Die Hard, aka Die Hard 5. Essentially, this is a film starring Bruce Willis and a lot of people who aren't Bruce Willis. First off, do you want to see this film? Well, if you're a fan of the franchise, you'll enjoy it. You should go out, check it out. There's plenty of Bruce Willis-y, action-y, blowing up star type of stuff-ishness, and you know, that's there for you. But if you've never seen a Die Hard film, stop wasting your life. Go and check out the 1988 release, the original. It's brilliant. It's one of the best films I've got. I love it. I've got it in DVD, Blu-ray. I might just go out and buy it in VHS just to have it. I mean, this is the film. The first thing fans will notice is this doesn't start off like your normal Die Hard film. This isn't just like, it starts things off as your sort of normal day for John McClane. It starts off with political intrigue and assassinations and visits to jail cells, and there's a lot of subtitles. It's not what we're used to. So I mean, you might be taken a bit aback by that at first, and then from there we're sort of thrown right into it. We see John McClane at the firing range being told his son's in a prison in Russia, and next thing we know, he's on a plane, he's in Russia, and there we go. I mean, it's just one thing after another, and the pace kind of keeps like that the entire film, before we've even had a chance to get reacquainted with John McClane and learn about who he is again. Now, granted, it's only been 5 years since we've seen Die Hard 4, but, you know, let's at least say, oh, hi John, before you say, this is John and he's now living in your house. It's just, you need to be introduced again. That's just how it works. And granted, you expect a fast pace in an action film. It's just how action films are. It's not necessarily a good thing, but it's part of the genre. And with that, you've been rushed along so quickly in the first half hour that the plot hasn't really been revealed to us, and it feels as if we haven't been given a reason to care. The first installment in Die Hard, we get to know John, and we want him to get back together with his wife. Second film, we want to have him save his wife and have a nice Christmas and be with the family. Third and fourth, well, there's those. But by 5, I think it's almost assumed that we want to side with John McClane because we're already familiar with his character flaws, his traits, his attributes, and his desire to do the right thing at whatever cost. And I kind of feel that we really need more of a reason to care here. I mean, there was never any talk about why him and his son fell out. I mean, there was none of that. So when the relationship kind of brings itself back, it's kind of, well, alright. I mean, there's angry words there, and obviously people, they've not been talking. I mean, it's mentioned, but we never really find out why, what's drove them apart. And I feel if they had added that, we would have been a little bit more apathetic. When it comes to the cinematography style, you really have to ask yourself, well, what style? Not the fact that it was a mess, it was just a bit of a jumble, which I suppose is a mess. It wasn't a point where anything was unappealing to look at. I just couldn't figure out what they were going for. There were 2 random points where you have these sort of vintage zooms from wide to something close over Moscow, and I thought, oh cool, well they're trying to sort of harken back to the sort of 70s, 80s style, but it only happened twice. And later on, when we have some dialogue scenes, there's like some really shallow depth of field that had to be shot with a prime lens, I'm guessing somewhere in between 2.0 and 1.2. They were beautiful shots, but it almost seems as if they were sort of thrown in as an afterthought. You see, the entire film just sort of seemed to be, right, here's the action, here's the action, here's the action, and keep up. And I just feel that the cameramen were so busy just trying to run along, keeping up with it, that they never really had a chance to make anything beautiful. The sort of prime lens dialogue scenes were sort of thrown in as an afterthought to try and make things a little bit more tasty. Now, don't get me wrong, I guess I've been a little bit spoiled after seeing Skyfall, where we had a different colour for every single setting, and I mean almost every single shot was like this piece of art. So, you know, I get it, and not everything's going to sort of come up to that level, but at the same time you kind of think, well, Skyfall can do it, why can't Die Hard? But let's move away from that and talk a little bit about the action and the stunts and whatnot. It almost seemed like Bruce Willis was the man of steel in this for at least a good hour, maybe? I mean, he was in a car crash, and then he was hit by a car, no blood. By the second car crash, he had a slight tear in his trousers, but not much more than that. After that, he's then hit in the head with a gun, and he's punched in the face a couple times. Still doesn't. I think he spits once after that. I mean, there's no bruises, no blood, nothing. But after that, he shoots down a roof full of glass and he throws himself through a window onto some scaffolding. And then, after about an hour or so, after being in multiple car crashes, being beaten in the head, now we start to see a couple cuts showing up. And, I mean, did they blow their budget on the explosions? Did they just forget to hire the makeup department for the first half of this film? I'm guessing not. I mean, when they did the job on it, I mean, it looked great, it looked authentic, it looked brilliant. But, I mean, if you look at Die Hard 1, and everybody is going to be comparing Die Hard 5, 4, 3, 2, always to the original. But within the first 45 minutes, I mean, his clothes were missing. I mean, the only thing he had on was his wife beater and his trousers. He lost his shoes, he lost his top, right? He was sweating, his hair was a mess, he was covered in blood. I mean, this was what we kind of expected to see, rather than Superman 2.0. Now, as ridiculous as that might have been, there's still no denying that it was entertaining. Everything was great. I mean, it was fast-paced, the action that you would expect from the Die Hard franchise, and it really sold you. But the big thing that really sold this as a franchise film for Die Hard was the humour. Between the usual brass neck cheek and the teasing of the father and son thing going on, there was plenty of humour going on, and there was one part in particular that I sort of really chuckled at, and that's when we see this Russian thug talking about why he hates Americans, and he says he especially hates cowboys. And for me that was really funny, because the reason that John McClane adopted his famous catchphrase yippee-ki-yay was him being accused by Hans Gruber in Die Hard 1 of being a typical American cowboy. And I thought that was really good, but mostly I found it hilarious because I really wanted the guy in front of me to be particularly insulted, because this random guy was wearing a cowboy hat. I have no idea why. Who wears a cowboy hat in the cinema if you're not from Texas? I didn't get it. Anyway, I thought that was funny. And there are a couple other fun homages to the previous films, between the glass falling from the roof, of course jumping off multiple roofs. But actually, going back to yippee-ki-yay, when it was said, we barely actually heard it. Now, that was a bit of an audio mixing problem, so it really sort of felt a bit underwhelming, because at first you have to really ask, well, what's going on? I mean, what's he doing? So there was a little less of a sort of, oh cool, and oh, you know. So that was a bit sad. I mean, it's great that they included it this time. I was told that the American version didn't have it for 4. It did in the UK release. Sorry, America, for that one. However, if I had to hear Bruce Willis say I'm on vacation one more time, I was going to hurt someone. Not because it was overplayed, which it was, but mostly because he wasn't on vacation. He was on this personal mission vendetta type of thing to find his son, bring him back from Russia, and be a good dad. Like, nobody does that on holiday. This isn't, right, I'm going to take a couple of days off and I'm going to go to another country, find my son, become a good dad, and rescue him from prison. I mean, nobody does that when they've got a break. It was a stupid line. I get them trying to say, oh, this is John, he's frustrated and he's just trying to be funny, but it just didn't work this time around. Also, did anyone else notice those random J.J. Abrams-esque lens flares? Was that just me? There seemed to be a lot of that. In fact, at one point it looked like Bruce Willis was wearing sort of a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles mask thing, so they could have eased back on that. Don't get me wrong, I like a couple of lens flares. In fact, I don't even mind them in Star Trek, and all this worry about it being in Star Wars doesn't bother me so much either, but here it just seemed out of place. Final thoughts on the film. I almost felt that we didn't really see enough of Bruce Willis, which is kind of odd seeing as it's his film, but that's just kind of an odd feeling I got from the film. Ultimately, it was a good addition to the franchise, and you know, you'll enjoy it. Don't go in expecting to be blown away, but it's a decent enough Die Hard film. Anyway guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more reviews, tutorials and Scottishness, and I'll catch you later.